Hello friends, and welcome to this week's landscape photography vlog, and we are back in the swamps. This time I share a new technique that allowed me to get way cleaner photographs, but with some fairly risky setups, and I attempt to teach Gavin some telephoto landscape photography, which didn't quite go as planned. I really hope you enjoy watching. Alright, so we are back out on the lake. It is now almost sunset, and I'm in my own little canoe. It's a nice clear evening tonight. So we've got some beautiful dappled light in the trees. Amazing, isn't it? Just kind of gliding through the trees. Little bits of warm dappled light out there in the distance. All right, I'm gonna try put the oar away for a second and let's get out my camera. These trees are looking really nice. Wow. I think I'm going to do without the polarizer for now, just to get a little bit more light in here. So for this image, I really wanted to simplify the scene by working with that spotlighting against the darker background. And I love how the thinner branch and twigs that lead out towards the left side almost look like an arm reaching out into the distance. Yeah, that's pretty sharp with 1/125th of a second, f/16 ISO 500. So I think for now, I'm going to stick with that because I know it's sharp. And what I'm doing is every few frames, I'm checking the back of the viewfinder just to really make sure that my shots are in focus, because I did look at the laptop earlier and realized a lot of the shots I thought were in focus were definitely not in focus. So I'm going to keep the camera kind of handy right here and just kind of slowly paddle through here. I'd love to see if we can get some of these backlit trees and paddle this way so that we're facing kind of into the sun. I think that'll offer some really nice shots. You can see that the moss that's hanging off the trees is catching some beautiful glow. It's just about finding the right perspective here. Oh my God, look at this. Look at how incredible this looks right now. It's amazing. And if I zoom in a bit, look at these textures, all this lighting in here. One of the most challenging things about composing a scene like this is just finding the right structure of trees and the complementary lighting to go with it. And even though the direct lighting here was beautiful, the complex patterns that the low light was creating made it tough to find simplicity within all of the chaos. But I did the best I could here with that quickly fading glow. So it's just about sunset right now, and we've got a little bit of light hitting the tops of the tree line, and then some nice soft light in this direction. And it looks really pretty. The only problem is if I show you this right here, you've got the top of the tree line right there getting lit up, but then you have, well, you have Andrew right there, but you have kind of the darker patch of the trees down towards the bottom, because I'm not a huge fan of just this dark strip right here. The light was fading quick here, and I decided to shift my attention over to doing long exposures by submerging the tripod into the water. And this ended up being a pretty tricky technique to do. Should be good enough. Kind of pressed it into the bottom here. It's not, you know, there's a little bit of like mush at the bottom of the water. All right. Make sure the camera is stable on here. Let's see if we can make this work. I want to do kind of a telephoto perspective here at about 200 millimeters. Let's go down to ISO 100, f/18. Ooh, that is gorgeous now with that soft light. Oh my gosh, amazing. So the long exposure effect definitely created a different mood to this image. I really love how it simplified the water and created these beautiful vertical streaks. I thought it was really cool that the background was filled up by that orange fall color, and then right in front of it you have this hanging Spanish moss. The icing on the cake here, for me at least, were those glowing bushes down towards the water's edge. I felt like they added the perfect color contrast to the scene here. It is so nice to be able to use a tripod right now. All right. Ooh, it's a lot of junk on the tripod. I'm gonna kind of position like this so that we can paddle and find another good spot for the camera and tripod. I'm gonna see if it's shallow right against this tree in front of us. Okay. Definitely a bit lower this time, but I actually think this will work still pretty well. And the background is kind of glowing. So I'm just gonna do a nice clean exposure here. I love the high-key look to this image compared to some of the rest of them, and it almost has the opposite effect as some of the spotlighting at the beginning of the video. Building contrast and depth throughout a scene can be done in a number of different ways, such as this photograph with the darker tree trunks against that brighter background, or you can create that contrast through complementary colors and juxtaposing shapes. And these are important things to think about and play around with, but the more experiences you have photographing and the more time you dedicate to it, all of these will end up becoming subconscious thoughts, and you can start recognizing those patterns more spontaneously. And now I would love to hear from you. Do you tend to gravitate more towards high-key images with brighter backgrounds, or do you enjoy shooting darker, more dramatic photographs? Please let me know in the comments. Kind of a bit hard to focus on the composition. Like, I'm trying my best here, but it's not perfect. I'm just hoping that what I'm seeing in front of me is actually good. Or maybe we'll just try and see how deep it is right here. Damn it. Yeah, too deep. Too deep. Head on to another little island spot over here. Looks quite nice. Let's see if I can get the tripod out in this spot right here. Most sketchy placement of a camera I've done in a while. All right, so here's the scene that I'm looking at. If I kind of zoom in here, you're looking at a 16:9 crop, but I really loved this tree. You've got two trees kind of framing it on either side, so a nice symmetrical composition. I could always crop out the left side that's a little bit brighter here. If we zoom in here, you can also get some really nice tight perspectives, isolating just the tree without the water. So there's a lot to play with, a lot of different options. The technique of shooting it is a little bit challenging. I want to make sure I don't tip off of this canoe as well. But overall, it's pretty fun. Can't complain. I think I am going to bump my ISO to 500 just so we have a little bit more breathing room on that shutter speed. So right now I'm doing a nice 30-second exposure because you know what? We got the tripod already in the water, why not? Yeah, it's looking pretty clean. ISO 800, crazy. Didn't think I would be doing giant long exposures on the water like this. So here's a more abstract look at the swamp, and this one ended up being one of my favorite images of the day. I love how the long exposure effect helped to simplify all of the lines in the scene, and how you have this converging motion from the vertical streaks in the water and the horizontal streaks of all the leaves that are on the water's surface. All right, so it is morning here and I'm on the swamps, and this time I decided not to do the boat. We are just kind of standing in the swamp. And got my camera here shooting some telephoto abstract compositions, and I've kind of wedged the camera into the water here. And I initially had my camera a bit higher up, but now I've lowered it so it's pretty close to the water here. And the reason for that is if I aim the camera up here, you can see there's a lot of different things on the water right now, a lot of little lily pads. And if we get the camera lower, you can see you can actually remove a lot of that from the surface of the water and see more of the reflection. What's really nice about this scene as well is since I am on the tripod, I can just have the camera here and do really nice, clean, long exposures. So I can just do ISO 100, f16, f18, and then just let the shutter speed be as long as it needs to, which in this case, we're mainly, dragging the shutter, I'd say 1 to 2 seconds, maybe even up to 5 seconds, depending on how dark of a patch of trees we're focused on. Ooh, see some light out there in the distance, just a little bit of light cresting on the top of the trees. And as that sun rises, that light is going to drop down further into the canopy, and it might make for some really interesting glow out there in the distance. So we're going to do f16 here, ISO 100 again, and that puts us at a slight long exposure, which should look pretty nice. This was another personal favorite of mine, and I love how painterly this one looks with those splashes of fall color throughout the scene and those bits of green foliage on the left side. I thought it was cool that this image had kind of a circular pattern to it with everything kind of framing that tree in the middle. Yeah, that's looking really nice. I need to decide, maybe how I want to crop this, because it might be nice like an 8x10. There's something weird. The water is really turbulent right now. What are you doing?
Do you like it, Dad?
It's nice.
No, do you like it when someone walks in your shop?
It's great. Andrew and I realized Gavin was really struggling with his compositions here, so I offered to give him a few tips for telephoto landscape photography.
You need to do that now, do you? You hungry?
I didn't eat breakfast, just a little snack. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, if you could, 'cause I don't want to scare this bird off.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a bit crunchy, innit?
Shh, Gavin, you're gonna scare the bird.
Just shut up! You're agitating me, egret.
You're making me egretated.
That's good. Well, I'm not saying it's excessive, but it does sound like somebody chopping a tree down.
But if somebody's chopping a tree down and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound?
I mean, I'm not saying it's loud, but no, I don't want one.
Actually, I bit in right there, so you probably wouldn't want a piece where I didn't bite.
Probably not. No, I don't think so, would I?
Probably not.
Oh, you've scared it off now. Look, it's gone.
Wait, what's gone? Oh, the egret. You didn't get a photo? It was there for a while. I got like 100 photos of it. You didn't get a single one? I thought we were gonna pack it up. It was there for like an hour.
I've really missed you these last 4 years.
Dropped a little bit. Maybe the egret will come back and grab a little bit on the ground.
I'll get a shot then.
Even though Gavin didn't get his bird shot, here's a few more of my favorites that I captured that morning. This outing was an absolute blast, and I definitely felt a bit more comfortable photographing this subject than I did in the first video. Utilizing the spotlighting here really helped me to create more impactful images, and that long exposure technique gave me a lot more breathing room and helped me to slow down and fine-tune some of these compositions. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to stay tuned for my final swamp video, because in that one I capture my favorite images of the trip, and we have a little bit of fun with Gavin as well. If you want to learn more from me, you can check out my workshop page on my website, link in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.